and a very warm welcome to yet another interesting edition of the program CAC Weekly, a weekly program that keeps you abreast on the activities and achievements of the Corporate Affairs Commission. My name is Miriam Abdul Rashid. Coming up, CAC gets classified as one of the top 5 performing MDAs in Nigeria. The Business Facilitation Act and its relationship with CAMA 2020, amongst others, gets scrutinized. Plus, how to register a limited liability company seamlessly online. We will be right back. Do stay with us.
Under our law, if a company makes any false statement or false declaration, it's criminal. It attracts a 2-year jail term. So, if you have reason to believe that what they gave you is different from what they submitted to us, escalate to us. I will take them to account, hold them responsible, and get them sanctioned, possibly prosecute them, and get them actually punished for this mistake. And as a deliberate policy, we have given certain amount of information to the public at no cost. If we check public search, we check search.cac.gov.ng. Every company or entity registered in Nigeria, you can see the name, the date of registration, the registration number, the address, and the names of persons with significant control at no cost to you. It's available free of charge. This is deliberate because we believe, and it tells you the status. A lot of you have companies, but you don't file your returns.
Welcome back. We start off with the cheering news that the CAC has been described as one of the leading lights among Nigerian government agencies. This development came after the CAC beat 52 other ministries, departments and agencies to make the list of the top 5 performing MDAs in the country. You may recall that on January 3, 2021, the Commission commenced the vigorous implementation of the CAMA 2020 with the launch of an end-to-end electronic platform, thereby making it the only government agency to win a 100% self-service portal. Under the able and dynamic leadership of the Registrar General, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, the Commission rolled out a series of reforms and launched several new products, some of which include new forms of business registration, limited liability partnerships, and limited partnerships, which can be registered directly on the company's registration portal, CRP. The CAC on December 21, 2022, continued its digital revolution with the deployment of an online platform for the filing of the following notices: surrender of shares to the company as gifts, allotment of shares, transfer of shares, transmission of shares. Aside from the new platform, the Commission had earlier on the CRP deployed a platform for the alteration of the memorandum and articles of association of a company and the amendment of the Constitution of Incorporated Trustees. Wow, no wonder the federal government's 2022 Executive Order 001 Compliance Report, just released by the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, recognized the CAC as one of the top 5 most improved and most business-efficient agencies in Nigeria. In the report, the Executive Secretary of the PEBEC, Jumoke Oduwole, stressed that the CAC, along with 4 others, has performed extremely well to meet consumer demands in the best and most efficient ways to promote businesses in its bid to achieve excellent service delivery. The CAC scored 63.68% to make the top 5 list, released in accordance with the PEBEC's pledge to continuously track and update Nigerians, particularly the business community, on compliance with order on transparency and efficiency in the Nigerian business environment. CAC Weekly recalls that on May 18, 2017, Executive Order 001 on transparency and efficiency in the business environment was issued to strengthen the implementation of business climate reforms, as well as deepen collaboration among ministries, departments, and agencies by instituting a systematic change management process for reforms. At this juncture, we say a big congratulations to the CAC and more wins ahead. Moving on to another landmark achievement for the African giants. Esteemed viewers may recall that on February 14, 2023, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, signed the Business Facilitation Miscellaneous Provisions Act, commonly referred to as the Omnibus Act. Many economic analysts have opined that the law has tremendous potential to enhance growth in the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises (MSME) sectors of the economy. For a continuation of our insights on the provisions of the Act and its impact on CAMA 2020, let's join Mr. Adeola Tolulokpe Shonaike, Assistant Director, Registrar General's Office, in our interview segment.
Mr. Tolulokpe Adeola Shonaike, many thanks for having you again.
Thank you very much.
All right. So, continuation of the Business Facilitation Act, which we did a couple of weeks ago. I know we stopped at 204 the last time. Yes. Right. So today we have to continue on. We'll continue with the amendment done to Section 244.
Right.
Yes. Which is the Principality Act is amended by substitute. Okay, let me allow you to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a recap, let me just
okay.
By way of refreshing.
Yeah, of course.
It's the Business Facilitation Act, the BFA, for short. The main objective is to enhance transparency, efficiency, productivity in the business, Nigerian business space, and it seeks to do that by removing bottlenecks, administrative bottlenecks, by amending relevant legislations, and by promoting the institutionalization of reforms. Essentially, it codifies the Executive Order 001,
okay,
which is about transparency, ease of doing business, transparency, talks about service timelines, service level agreements by MDAs, publication of services and their requirements, and default approvals. So what the BFA has done.
I'm sorry to jump in here. Our latest ranking, as far as the ease of business is doing, does it reflect that?
Well, I mean, in the last few years, we have actually come up over 30 points, So, yes, I mean, it's all these reforms that have helped to achieve, and others, because it's not only CAC is involved at the level of starting a business, but there are other areas too that you look at when you talk about ease of doing business, getting permits, getting approvals, bringing your, that's customs. How easy it is for you to bring in machinery and all of that.
Yeah, so company registration is just one.
That's starting a business, SAB.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, they have all combined to promote the success that Nigeria has witnessed on the
What
index.
is the level of synergy between all these other components, agencies?
Yeah, I mean, one of them is what you are very familiar with, CAC and the FRS. So that before now, what you would do is, because to start a business, you must first register, and then you must also, that's what says, you must also register for tax. So before now, what used to happen was that you do your registration with CAC, even at the point of registration, if it's a company, right, you need to pay stamp duties for shares you create. If it's a company limited by shares, even for a company that's not limited by shares, for a company limited by guarantee, you still need to stamp your documents because it's a deed, right? Now, these are two agencies. So you start the process with CAC. At the point where you need to pay the stamp duties, you get out of the system, you go to FRS to do that. When you do that, you come back.
Okay.
You know, that takes that used to take a lot of time, right? And what we now did by digitalization, you know, technology, was to onboard our own processes, and in that process to interface with the electronic platform, payment platform for the AFRS. So now, for paying stamp duties or whatever duties you need to pay at the point of incorporation, you don't need to leave CAC. When I say CAC, I'm talking about the CAC portal.
Okay.
Right, online.
So everything is done there.
You do it there.
Okay.
So that's some collaboration you see.
Okay.
You know, so those are levels of integrations. These ordinarily were issues that you would have had to consider different processes. And these processes, depending on how large or how few they are, will affect your ranking too, because it is time consuming. You know, so ease of starting business would need to look at things like cost of starting a business, the time it will take to get your business registered and started, you know, and then the ease of access. How do you access these services? So these are areas that were material, you know, for that ranking. And these were areas too that we concentrated on and addressed. So now we're talking about Section 244,
Yes.
Which is, that section deals with notice of general meetings, you know, to how do you serve notices to members of a company and those who are entitled to attend the general meetings of companies. Before CAMA 2020, the traditional means was you serve by post. So you post either by courier or you go deliver
hand to hand.
Yes. But CAMA 2020 now said that in addition to those traditional means of service of notices, you could send a notice of meeting to a member, you know, all those who are entitled to get the notice by email.
As simple as that.
Yes. But what CAMA 2020 did was to make it a complementary one. That's in addition to what existed. So it will not serve under CAMA 2020 originally. It will not be adequate as notice solely. Right? You can use it in addition to those other means. But what BFA has done is to constitute it as a substantive means of service of notice.
So it took it to a higher level.
So you can choose where the member provides an email address. You can choose to send the notice to him by mail without doing any post, without doing any other thing. You know, he addresses the cost of governance. Imagine that, don't forget that it's a global world now, and then I can be in Denmark and register a company in Nigeria. I can own shares in Singapore. I'm in Singapore and I'm holding shares in a Nigeria company. Now I'm entitled to notice of meeting. Imagine that you would have had to send it by DHL to me and to as many other people that live outside the jurisdiction.
Aside from the cost.
The cost.
And the
time. You know, at that time. But now you can just send it by email and it will be sufficient as notice.
All right. So because I can see personally, electronically, or by sending it to post to registered address. Yes.
And then there's also the issue of electronic meetings, which was introduced by Section 240 of CAMA in 2020. Now, by that provision, what CAMA did was to allow private companies to explore electronic means for holding their general meetings, you know, particularly the annual general meeting. Before that time, all meetings were held physically, you know. And then when this came on board, it allowed private companies to hold meetings electronically, right? This, I remember that had been concluded before COVID started. So it was not a real concern there for public companies, you know, until the lessons from COVID.
COVID is indeed a game changer.
Right. So, but what BFA now has done is to extend that window to public companies by removing the word private. So it now, this section 242 now says that a company may, not a private company now, so a company may. So all kinds of companies can now hold their annual general meetings electronically. You know, their general meetings, they can hold it electronically. But to do this, because when it concerned only private companies, there were regulations that the commission made to guide it. One, your articles of association must allow it. Must provide for it. And then in the same articles, you must make provisions, arrangements for how it to be conducted, the modalities. So now that public companies will also do that, they also have to abide by these rules. It will need us to change, make some amendments to or review to our regulations. Quite a number of these provisions will require that we'll make, and that's what we're doing. We'll publish the revised guidelines very soon.
Okay, all right. So we now move to the next one, which talks about the number of shareholders, isn't it?
Yeah. Section 248.
Yes.
That's about voting at meetings.
Okay.
Section 248 ordinarily says that members shall be entitled to vote at meetings, and voting then could either be by show of hands, in which case they say, okay, who is voting for this? You raise up your hand.
Yes.
Or where a member so demands, by poll. Now, what by poll means is that when you contrast the look at the voting by show of hands, what that means is that everybody raises his hand.
His or her hand.
But that's just one vote.
Oh.
It doesn't matter the number of shares they are holding. So we just show. So if we are 30 people in the room, right? Okay, and all 30 of us hold together 1 million shares. But as shareholders, we're attending and we're 30 people. When they say, okay, let's vote, those who are voting for it, show your hands. 20 of us may show our hands. Each person will be counted one. So there are 20 votes.
Okay.
Those 20 votes may constitute just about 20% or 30% of the total share capital of that company, right? But by reason of voting by show of hands, they have outvoted the other 10. Right? But when you say voting by poll, what that means is that you vote according to the number of votes you have.
Oh, okay.
So
if I have 10 votes.
If you have, yes, and the number of votes you have will be determined by the number of shares you are holding, the quantum of shares you are holding.
Okay.
So if in that room we have 30 people and one person is holding maybe 400,000 shares out of 1 million, that's 40%, right? So if it demands a poll, what that means is that by that person raising up his hand, that one person,
40%.
40% of the vote has been exercised. So you may have the other 18 constituting less than 20%. He has outvoted them.
Okay.
You understand? So your vote will be counted according to the quantum of shares you hold. So all you may need to be in the majority may just be a few people that their votes combined will exceed 50%. So if I'm holding 400,000 and you are holding 200,000, already we are holding 600,000.
Yeah.
So all that we need to carry that resolution will be for two of us to vote for that resolution. Even if all others, 28, vote against it, we will carry the resolution. Because if that resolution, what is required is simple majority. Right? So now, voting can be either by show of hands or by poll. So what the amendment to Section 248 has done is riding upon the amendment to Section 240.
Okay.
Don't forget that Section 240, we did say that you can hold your general meetings electronically. So if you can hold your general meetings electronically,
why won't you vote
it should also go without saying that you should be able to vote electronically. That was addressed in the regulation. Before BFA.
Okay.
CAMA 2020. The regulation that was made pursuant to it in 2021 addressed it. That, okay, if you are going to hold meetings electronically, there must be arrangement that will ensure that members can be heard, right? They can speak, they can vote, and their votes can be counted.
Okay.
Right? So by this amendment, what it has done is to now insert it in the substantive, the principal provision, that voting can also be electronically.
Okay.
So that's bringing what we had in the regulation into the substantive space, principal provision, right? That members should be able, voting should be able to be done electronically. And then moving from that, you go to Section 275.
Talking about the number of
independent non-executive directors.
Okay.
We call them INEDs.
Okay.
Now Section 275 before BFA, had provided that every public company, applies to only public companies, must have independent non-executive directors, right? And that insists that stipulated at least three for each public company, not minding the size of the board, not minding the number of directors.
Okay, no matter how many they are,
yes.
They must have three.
You must have at least three independent directors.
Okay. Okay.
So that in itself became a problem because public companies can be quoted or not, listed or unlisted. And beyond that, the law does not prescribe a minimum number for directors of public companies. So it's possible that you have a public company with just 6 directors, 5 directors, and if you now say those companies must have at least 3, that means you're having more independent directors than the executive and non-executive directors, And what is the benefit, the objective of bringing in independent directors for public companies? One, because they are public interest entities. So the system is concerned about how they are managed and run. Sustainability is an issue. They must be managed in such a way that profit can be assured now, continuity, and it can be assured after now.
Okay.
Sustainable today, sustainable tomorrow.
So they have a kind of futuristic approach?
You must have that. Okay. You must have a view to sustainability.
Thank you so much for your time, as always.
All
right.
Great insights there from Tolulope. Let's now move on to registration matters. Are you a business owner desirous of registering a limited liability company and wondering how to go about it? Please come with us as we show you how to do just that seamlessly online.
Company registration. To begin, reserve the company name that you intend to register and then proceed to click on Start Registration to begin. Step 1. Enter the details of the company. Click on Save and Continue. Step 2. Add the objects of the company. Click on Save and Continue. Step 3. On the Articles of Association, you can either create your own Articles of Association or simply adopt the default Articles of Association provided. You can also edit each part of the default Articles of Association to fit your company's purpose. Click on Save and Continue. Step 4. On the directors, enter the details of at least one director. If you want to hide your residential address from public record, click on the Hide Residential Address from Public Record toggle button. Click on Save and Continue. Step 5. Under Secretary, this requirement is optional for small companies and you may skip the step by clicking on the Click Here link button to proceed. However, if you wish to add a secretary, click on the Add Secretary button, enter the details of the secretary, and click on Save and Continue. Step 6. Under Statement of Issued Share Capital, add the share details and enter details of proprietor and click on Save and Continue. Note, you must allot the entire issued share capital. Step 7. On the persons with significant control, enter the particulars of the person with significant control of the company. Step 8. On the Statement of Compliance, if you are an applicant or an accredited agent other than a legal practitioner, fill in your details and click on Save and Continue, or you can skip this step. Under Document Upload, scan and upload all the documents labeled Yes under the If Required column, and where the documents labeled Optional applies to you, please scan and upload to avoid a query on your application. Click on Save and Continue to preview. Step 9. Preview your entries and if satisfied, click on the Proceed to Payment in order to make payment. Remember to remain on the remitter page after you have received a confirmation of payment. Step 11. After payment, you will be redirected to your dashboard where you will make payment for your stamp duty. After making payment, your application will enter the pending panel on your dashboard under registration. When your registration has been approved, your certificate will be automatically generated on your registered panel where you can download and print it.
Wow, it's so easy. So what are you waiting for? Hurry now to pre.cac.gov.ng to register your business. And that does it for this week's edition of the program, CAC Weekly. We hope you enjoyed watching. For comments and inquiries, please take advantage of our social media handles and our helplines. On Twitter, it is CAC Nigeria 1. On Instagram and Facebook, it's Corporate Affairs Commission. Our email is cservice@cac.gov.ng. Our website is www.cac.gov.ng. And our helpline 070-806-29000. Do join us next week for another interesting edition of the program. Same time, same station. From me, Miriam Abdurrashid, and the whole team here, it's bye for now.